Thank you. In my comments, I agree with my friend from Chilliwack Hope that it's most unfortunate when important bills have closure on debate. But that's the only point with which I agreed with him. And I'm dismayed, Mr. Speaker, that the willingness to try to claim credit or score partisan points over a business decision. TransCanada made a decision, and it was well explained, I think, by Andrew Leach, an associate professor, School of Business, University of Alberta, who pointed out quite clearly that what you have is a declining price. Bitumen is a product that is expensive to produce, but gets a low price in the market because it is a solid. It's not even synthetic crude. It can't go into a refinery till it's upgraded. Personally, and on behalf of the Green Party, we think that exporting raw bitumen to other countries for upgrading and refinery is a loss for Canadian jobs, in that we are supported by the largest unions in Northern Alberta. But I put to him that the analysis that claims that this is somehow a regulatory process of uncertainty, that regulatory process was put in place by Bill C-38 in the spring of 2012, when for the first time the National Energy Board started doing environmental reviews. They're unsuited for it. There's been more uncertainty, more confusion, and more court cases because of the schmozzle of reviews that we have post the previous Prime Minister. Mr. Harper's approach to reviews, which was supposed to fast-track approvals, had the opposite effect. Meanwhile, there's a glut of pipelines, and as Professor Leach points out, when Trump approved Keystone, the same producer had a problem. Couldn't find enough long-term contracts from suppliers who were willing, and from those who wanted to convey their product through the pipelines, to justify two. And it was the better business decision to kill Energy East in order to line up long-term contracts for Keystone, which is more advantageous to that industry. I mean, we can twist ourselves into all kinds of knots to say it's somebody's political fault, but this was a business decision based on a low price globally for oil, retreating investments in the oil sands, and so many pipelines approved that there's a glut.
Well, member for Chilliwack. Well,
thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate that the leader of the Green Party wants to take the word of academics who've made that argument. I'll take the word of former Energy East executives who say that it was this government that killed that project. It was this government, by restarting the hearing process unnecessarily, that killed this project. It was this government, by making the pipeline responsible for calculating how many upstream and downstream greenhouse gas emissions would be created by the product that flowed through that pipe, that suddenly that was the responsibility of the pipeline company. Mr. Speaker, that has never been done before. So we can't blame that on the previous government, as much as I know that member likes to lay most of the problems of this country at the feet of that government. But we will take the word of Energy East executives who said that it was the regulatory process by this government that created that uncertainty. And it happened. I talked about the Northern Gateway pipeline. What impact do you think it has on investor confidence when a pipeline that's been approved, subject to conditions, subject to 209 stringent environmental conditions, is simply cancelled by a subsequent government for no reason whatsoever other than political whim? What do you think that does to investor confidence when they say, I can spend $750 million, $800 million to get a project approved, and it can't even get built because it gets arbitrarily killed by an ideological government who's opposed to a pipeline that goes through a forest that they like? It kills investor confidence, and that's what this government has done all across the energy sector from coast to coast.